CBS News has learned a lawyer for Trump certified in writing that all classified materials had been removed from Mar-a-Lago after a June 3rd meeting with Justice Department officials. But this summer, individuals familiar with where and how those wayward documents were being stored told investigators about their existence at the private residence.
This sounds like something out of a spy novel. The Espionage Act basically outlaws holding on to national security information that could potentially harm the US or help foreign adversaries without authorization. And this investigation, it's unprecedented. A newly unsealed warrant reveals FBI agents removed 20+ boxes and binders, including 11 sets of highly classified documents, some marked top secret, and some only meant to be viewed in secure government areas. The warrant also reveals the FBI is investigating the former president for potentially violating the Espionage Act, mishandling classified documents, and obstruction of justice.
Violating the Espionage Act, obstruction of justice. These are some very serious terms that will, I think, forever be associated with Donald Trump in this. I was gonna say this wing of the Republican Party, but this Republican Party, it is what it is. So as CBS News was pointing out there, all these accusations and new findings and what's going on, the details and the severity of what actually was found potentially and what they're looking for in that investigation of Mar-a-Lago and that search that happened just last week when Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, went ahead and opened up that warrant and allowed us to see everything that was in it. Now, when it came to describing what's happening, we even went over to Fox News. Check this out, you guys. There's a former FBI assistant director. He went on Fox News and revealed just how serious this was to the audience, which I wonder what their response was. But let's watch.
Yeah, Sean, these are heavyweight statutes. The first statute, 793, is basically the espionage statute. It talks about things that he may have done with the documents that would result in injury to this country and he did these things willfully. That's serious enough. That's a 10-year penalty if he's convicted. Now, the third statute, which is an obstruction-related statute, carries a 20-year penalty, and it basically says that it alleges that he somehow impeded an ongoing matter, which could have been the grand jury investigation of what we now know is an espionage case. So this is a much more serious case than just possession of classified documents. They're alleging actions on the part of this ex-president and things that he has done that can only be coming from informants.
Oh, there's an informant line there in the back end of that as well. But there's very serious accusations, Espionage Act, keeping in certain classified materials that he has no business having there. And as you guys saw, Sean Duffy was talking with Chris Swecker there, who's a former FBI assistant director, about the severity of these things. But Duffy firsthand saw it. He actually said this later about the reasons why Donald Trump, there's no way he could have done this. This is some concrete evidence. Let's watch Sean say.
I mean, that Donald Trump was accused of espionage. This is the guy who put America first, who was looking out for American jobs, American industry. He fought China to get better trade deals. He was going after the Germans to shut down the pipeline with the Russians. He wanted NATO to pay more money. He was trying to secure the border, making sure we had the dollar as a reserve currency. He was all about America. That this guy would be the one who's gonna commit espionage is unbelief, I think, even for Democrats.
It's unbelievable, beyond belief. This guy, Maz, he said America first about 1 million times. So obviously, you know what that means.
Absolutely.
Wrong.
You're absolutely. First of all, Jared, let me just say something. The FBI has never raided my house, and that's because I don't have nuclear secrets. I didn't take top secret documents. You know what's crazy is these people keep defending this guy and they keep saying it's a witch hunt. They go, it's a witch hunt. And then their conspiracy theories come in, right? They planted material. The election was stolen. January 6th was FBI and Antifa. There was no Russian collusion. All of this stuff, he shouldn't have been impeached. All of this stuff comes about. Why? Because the guy keeps committing crimes. He can't help himself. I honestly don't think that Donald Trump is a criminal in the way of like, the criminal mind works in trying to rob a bank or embezzle money. He doesn't work like that. He just doesn't think there's any rules or laws that apply to him because he's been a spoiled brat his whole life. And so he just does whatever he wants to do. So he was probably told, you can't take those documents, sir. And he was like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna declassify them on the way out. That's what he said. He said, I declassified them on the way out. Like it's an Obi-Wan Kenobi move. Like as you're moving, you're like, there, you are declassified. You can't just do that. So, and then these guys get upset when the law comes back and bites them in the butt. This is how you're giving up the whole country. You're giving up everything for this loser who does not abide by the law. He's a narcissist. This guy, Sean Duffy's going, you think the guy who put America first? He didn't put America first. He put Trump first. He put Donald Trump first, then maybe his business, then maybe, I don't know what next, and then down the line, his kids. And America is somewhere. The only reason he likes America is because we let him get away with it.
He has an opportunity.
Any other country, any other country, if he were doing this, he would be in cuffs, and the people on the Republicans would be saying, oh my God, this guy bamboozled us. But they're just too dumb to say that. And they're too, real quickly, I used to watch back in the day when you watch a televangelist and he had like, thousands of people there, and he'd be saying, God said, give me your money. And they'd all be like, yeah, we're gonna give him our money. And I'd be like, God, these people are really dumb. I think Donald Trump pieced it together and was like, that's the people I need. The people that will believe with their faith, no matter what happens, that somehow I was sent by God to save these people and expose the pedophiles, all the crap that he's come up with. And it's just, you want to pull out your hair. Thank God I have no hair, or I would have pulled it out.
And they do so with violence because that's what God would want. I'm glad you brought up how we're talking about the lawlessness and maybe in other countries, how he feels he couldn't do it there. There's another lawmaker that thinks he should also do that here. Rand Paul, who's another foot soldier of Donald Trump, tweeted this out. The Espionage Act was abused from the beginning to jail descendants of World War I. It's long past time to repeal this egregious affront to the First Amendment. Repeal the Espionage Act, the Future of Freedom Foundation. With a picture of Julian Assange in that particular article that they posted there to talk about the Espionage Act. Suddenly, Rand Paul has issues with the Espionage Act and how it's misused, but only when Donald Trump gets caught up in it, when its rightful use is being used. It's almost like they don't care about law and order, that whole thing that Republican Party likes to bank themselves on. So it's not just a Donald Trump thing. They've always been this way, where they like to pull the wool over everyone's eyes, while behind the scenes, they're doing anything and everything that they want. By the way, there's one other guy who has a problem with top secret information being held and contained, especially if you're a presidential candidate, specifically if you're a presidential candidate, or if you're a former president or someone as close to these types of documents. Something must be done. If only we could think of this guy's name, maybe we can look at his face as he says it over and over and over again about classified material. Watch.
In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. We also need the best protection of classified information. That is the worst situation. Hillary's private email scandal, which put our classified information in the reach of our enemies, disqualifies her from the presidency.
Forget about what was on the emails. It's irrelevant. Although many of them were classified, highly classified, and you go to jail for that.
Conduct was willful, intentional, and unlawful. And her repeated false statements about her conduct prove that she was fully aware of her guilt. She knew it. She's probably the most surprised person that she was able to get away with it. This was not just extreme carelessness with classified material, which is still totally disqualifying. This is calculated, deliberate, premeditated misconduct, followed by a cover-up that included false statements and lies to Congress, the media, and the American people.
I've listened to that like 5 times, and I'm still surprised every time I hear the extreme detail in which he wanted to make sure that no one in any kind of position like the one that he's in can take classified material and use it for their own nefarious wishes. And I'm gonna make sure in my administration that anyone who does this can't run for president again, that they're disqualified, calculated, premeditated, lying to Congress, speaking of these crimes before they even happen. It's crazy how it works. But they still have a defense for it, Maz. Let's go to graphic 3, because Trump's office, in response to this, in a statement provided to John Solomon, who's a conservative journalist who is one of Trump's authorized representatives to the National Archives, claimed late on Friday that Trump often took classified documents to his residence and had issued a never before revealed, as you pointed out earlier, Maz, a standing order that all documents removed this way were deemed to be classified. So as long as my grubby ketchup fingers touch these documents, it's automatic declassification. As long as there's McDonald's cheese on it, it's declassified. The power to classify and declassify documents rests solely with the President of the United States, is what the statement continued to read. The idea that some paper-pushing bureaucrat with classification authority delegated by the president needs to approve of declassification is absolutely absurd. Yes, I added the absolutely part because that's probably what he would actually have liked to have said. And lastly, let's talk about exactly just how sensitive this information was, because Brian McBride, journalist, pointed this out. CNN analyst says that the intel Trump stole are so sensitive that FBI agents will begin fingerprinting each document to find out who actually touched them. That's how secret it is. So I don't care how much you say you can declassify things. It's supposed to not leave certain rooms the kinds of things that Donald Trump took and was doing, I assume, nefarious activities with.
That, and also the Solomon guy who said, the president should be able to declassify, not some bureaucrat. The whole point of any of this stuff is to have checks and balances against one person being able to do whatever they want to do. That's the whole point. The whole point is that the president is not supposed to be above the law. And we have a president here, Donald Trump, who we all know his intelligence is not very intelligent. Anyone you talked to who worked under him said whenever they would be giving him briefings about intelligence, he'd be dozing off or looking around and he couldn't pay attention. They said they have to draw diagrams to keep his attention and throw in words in the middle. The guy is not a politically savvy president. So even if this Solomon guy who represented him had some argument to be made, if he were to say, listen, this guy, Donald Trump, is the quintessential political strategist, and therefore he should have the right to declassify certain documents and classify certain documents, maybe we could have a conversation. Even then we shouldn't, because I don't care how smart you are, you shouldn't be able to just single-handedly declassify things as you go. But Donald Trump is a bozo when it comes to politics. He doesn't know the first thing about it. He doesn't know the first thing about international relations. He doesn't know the first thing about top secret. And he's got it at Mar-a-Lago, where you and I could walk in, Jayar, you and I, a black man and a Middle Eastern man could walk in hand to hand, pretending to be LGBTQ into Mar-a-Lago. We could walk in and they might even welcome us. They probably wouldn't, but they might. And if they did, we could be like, while you distract the staff, you could be like, oh, the shrimp at the buffet is running out. And I'd be like, and I'd go down the stairs, Jimmy the lock, get in there, boom. So he's just, the guy's awful and it was wrong, and I don't know what else to say. They should arrest him.
We'll see if it also ends up being something that comes up to catch up to him, because that's what this week may entail. Last week was all those fireworks. It was a Friday drop. So we'll see if this week he has more response, or any of these defenders actually understand what reality is.